The most dangerous handgun isn't always the one that fails. Sometimes it's the one that makes you wonder if it will. I caught myself adjusting at a gas pump before I even realized I was doing it. Shirt, waistband, grip, one quick check, and that bothered me. Not because anyone said anything, because I knew exactly why I did it. It was the doubt. I didn't have full confidence in the gun I was carrying. Because when it's actually on you, no warm-up, no second chances, you don't rise to the moment. You fall back on what you trust. So I drew a line. And most guns didn't make it. Not hype, not what just dropped. What actually stays when you carry it day after day. These are the most trusted handguns you can buy in 2026. And not because they're perfect, but because they give you the fewest reasons to doubt them. My hands were already failing. I was already tired from running smaller, snappier pistols all afternoon. My hands were tight, my grip was getting lazy, and shots were starting to feel rushed. The PX4 was sitting there looking weird like always, and I almost skipped it. I'd written it off before. Older design, odd reputation, not the kind of gun most people still take seriously. Then I ran it anyway. The recoil didn't snap back the way I was used to. It rolled. Controlled. Like the gun was working with my tired hands instead of punishing them. I didn't have to fight it back on target every time. It just came back where I left it. When everything else was getting harder to manage, the PX4 stayed predictable. And predictable is the word that matters here. Not exciting, not modern, predictable. That's where it stopped being weird and started being trustworthy. Most guns earn attention when they're new. The PX4 earns trust the slower way. By still making sense when your hands are compromised, when the session runs long, and when the newer options start asking for more effort than they should. It doesn't look like the future. That's exactly why a lot of people still miss it. But trust isn't about looking current. It's about still being the gun you reach for after the hype has already moved on. The PX4 doesn't demand belief on day one. It earns it after you've already given other guns the chance to fail you first. Last week, I was heading out the door. Keys in one hand, belt half set, 3 different carry options sitting right there on the table. No rush. Normal day. Should have been simple. It wasn't. I stood there doing that same quiet math again. Smaller gun for comfort. Bigger one for control. Something in between so I don't have to think about it later. I've done that routine more times than I want to admit. Hand went to one. Stopped. Shifted to another. Paused again. Then, without even deciding, I grabbed the Sig P226 macro. No big moment, no reasoning, just done. That's the part that stuck with me. I didn't choose it. I defaulted to it. And I keep seeing the same thing with people who actually carry. Because most carry guns feel like a trade. You're always giving something up. Capacity, control, comfort, and pretending it doesn't matter. The X macro doesn't win every category, but it removes enough friction that the argument just dies. You stop negotiating with yourself. It's not even about liking it at that point. It's about not second-guessing it. Only thing is, it's not a small gun. Some days it still feels like more than I need. But every time I try to rotate it out, my hand goes right back. And what came after this, that one doesn't just end the argument. It makes most of them feel pointless. I didn't take the FN509 Tactical seriously the first time I saw it on the table. It looked like too much gun, too tall, too chunky, too serious for a normal buyer who just wants something they can trust in 2026 without turning the purchase into a personality. And honestly, early in the day, the smaller pistols made more sense. Everybody wanted the easy ones, the cleaner ones, the ones that felt good before anything got ugly. Then, the range day started falling apart. Wind kicked dust across the benches. Somebody's optic started acting loose. Cheap ammo was making one guy curse under his breath. Hands got sweaty. Gear started dragging. People stopped smiling and started checking their pistols like they were waiting for bad news. That's when the FN changed for me. Not because it was smooth, not because it was pretty. It wasn't. It felt overbuilt, a little blocky, and honestly not something I'd tell every buyer to grab without thinking. But when the day got rough, it had this ugly confidence to it. Like it wasn't asking conditions to be perfect. By the end, the same guys who ignored it were reaching for it. That tells me something. The FN 509. Tactical is not the easiest recommendation on this list. But for the buyer who wants a handgun that still feels ready when the clean little range fantasy falls apart, this is where second guessing starts getting expensive. And that makes me wonder how many people pass on it because it feels like too much, right before they need exactly that. Last year out in Arizona, heat sitting on your shoulders, dust and everything, the kind of place where nothing feels comfortable just standing still. We had a few pistols spread out on a beat-up folding table behind the house. Nothing clean about it. Water bottles, dirty mags, gear that already gave up on looking good. And sitting there, the Sig P226. Didn't belong. Too heavy. Too serious. Looked like it missed the last 10 years on purpose. The kind of gun people already make up their mind about before they ever touch it. I almost did the same. And then I ran it, and everything slowed down. Not softer, not easier, just locked in. The lighter guns snapped around, felt quick, felt modern. But the P226 didn't move with me. It made me move with it. Pace changed. Grip settled. Every shot had an answer. Missed one, I knew why. Hit one, I knew why. No guessing. Out there in that heat, with everything else feeling a little off, the P226 just kept giving the same result back. No adjustment. No drama. No figured out next mag. Yeah, it's heavy. Not something you forget you're carrying. Not built to impress anybody anymore, but that's not why it's still here. It's still here because everything that tried to replace it eventually had to prove it could do the same thing, and most don't. And the next one, completely different problem. This one doesn't feel old at all. It just makes you realize your hands might be the issue. Honestly, I wasn't even supposed to stop. Ran in for ammo, kept my head down, already halfway out. Then I saw him, just standing there, not confused, not asking questions, worse, quiet. 3 compacts had already been through his hands. You could tell. Targets folded up in his back pocket, like proof he didn't want to look at again. He wasn't studying the guns anymore. He was studying himself. That look, I've seen it. Not which one's better. Is it me? That's where the Walther PDP Compact came in. No pitch, no buildup. He picked it up, and something changed before anything even happened. Shoulders eased, grip stopped fighting, small shift, but real. He brought it up once, then again, and that hesitation, gone, no reaction, no smile, just clean. That matters more than anything on a spec sheet. And I've seen that same shift more than once because trust isn't about shooting perfect. It's about knowing what went wrong without arguing with yourself. The PDP gives you that answer fast. It's not perfect, feels a little chunky, not the easiest to hide. But if you pick it up and your hands stop second guessing, yeah, that's not comfort, that's clarity. And for a lot of serious buyers, that's enough to choose it without looking back. And what comes after this, that one doesn't give you clarity. It just refuses to be questioned. Day after Christmas, cold bench, range mostly empty, couple officers still on the line, just burning the last of it off. No talking, just brass and that slow fade after a long shift. She's there. M&P 2.0 Compact in her hands. Not showing it off, not checking it, just holding it like it already did its job. I ask her why that one. She doesn't answer right away. Just gives me a look, then shrugs it off like it's obvious. Mentions long nights, bad calls, rain, sweat, training days where nobody cared what looked cool anymore. Says the same thing every time. It worked, it stayed boring, and it never asked for attention. Every damn night. And that's the whole point. Some guns need a story to prove themselves. This one doesn't. It's already been there too many times to explain. It doesn't stand out, doesn't try to impress you. It just keeps doing the same thing, over and over, until there's nothing left to question. You don't argue with it, you don't rotate it out, you just keep carrying it. It's not perfect, nothing is, but this is the one that survives everything else. And what comes at the end, that one doesn't quietly earn trust. It takes it the second you touch it, use. If I had to hand someone one handgun, and they couldn't afford to be wrong, I already know where this ends. Some guns shoot better, some carry easier, some feel nicer in your hand, some look newer, cleaner, more refined, some have better triggers. That's not the question, because trust isn't about who wins one category, it's about what holds up when everything matters at once. Will it work? Can you support it? Can you find parts anywhere? Can you train with it without fighting it? Will it still make sense years from now? Right now it still does. Start cutting things out with that standard. Most guns don't make it. They fall off one by one until you're left with this. The Glock 19 Gen 5. It doesn't win because it surprises you. It wins because it stops surprising you. Nothing about it asks for attention. Nothing needs explaining. It just keeps answering the same questions, the same way, no matter who's holding it or how long they've had it. That's why it's still here. That's why everything else gets compared to it. At number one, I don't need something exciting. I need the standard, and this is it. Trust isn't built by specs. It's built when the gun keeps answering the same question the same way. Can you still count on me tomorrow? That's the only standard that matters. Not what looks good. Not what shoots clean once. What holds up when it's just part of your life? Which handgun do you stop thinking about once it's on you? Which one earned your trust the hard way? And which one lost it after you owned it? Every gun here proved itself over time. No shortcuts. If you got one like that, drop it, and if one burned you, say it. I'm Steve. You don't test trust once, you live with it.